Welcome back, bigots. As you might know, Ghost of Yotei has recently released, and don't worry, I don't plan on discussing how much or how little the game has sold, or if the media has lied to you, so on and so forth. Instead, I want to start with a comment from X, and I think you'll see where I'm going from there. Mr. Philip Chan had this to say: if Ghost of Yotei made Atsu look like this, the game would have sold 1 million copies by now. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. The face model on the left looks way better. The face model. Exquisite. Seriously, every time a new DEI-related title releases, like Ghost of Yotei, the internet resurrects the old as time itself debate regarding beauty in gaming. And it's gotten quite nauseating. And I have some more comments to share, like from 𝐤𝐚𝐦𝐿𝐴 here. She had this to say: people saying I'm triggered by the existence of attractive women because I'm ugly. Bro, I'm gay. I am attracted to women. I am married to a gorgeous woman. I love looking at beautiful women. I just don't think every video game character needs to look like a sexualized teenager. Now, I take issue with how she phrased the last two words. Sexualized teenager. She knows, and I know she knows. That's not what we want. Your average gamer, your average player, your average nerd out there in the wild doesn't want a sexualized teenager. That is an exaggeration to make our claim look worse. What we have always asked for is just aesthetically pleasing characters. And as you would expect, 𝐤𝐚𝐦𝐿𝐴 had some replies. One from gamer nurse Gail had this to say. She said, so, should we have video game characters looking like this then? By your logic, you'd want devs to put this kind of crap in games. 𝐤𝐚𝐦𝐿𝐴 responded with, yeah, this character is hot. What's the issue? Tosh is hot? Okay, more on that later. But I replied, you are in a super minority of people who find monstrosities like Tosh attractive. That's the bottom line, and that is the prevailing fact. Most gamers don't like characters like Tosh and prefer characters like Tifa. Tifa just being one example out of many. This is an immutable and irrefutable fact of demographics. Now, this dialogue has compelled me to find a better answer than the car analogy that I usually use. If you've never heard of the car analogy, here it is. The text says, look at it this way. Imagine playing Gran Turismo, but you are forced to use rundown jalopies of the actual cars. And the developer is telling you that that's how cars are supposed to look like, because most of the cars we see around us are not brand new. Then further telling you that you have a problem because you are attracted to nice-looking cars. That's essentially what the left liberal rainbow cult does regarding just having aesthetically pleasing things in games. Now, our answer, we just want to see aesthetically pleasing things in games, for some reason is just not good enough for these argumentative control freaks. So, for my last-ditch effort, I bring to you a different approach. I bring to you the science and psychology behind wanting beautiful things in our art and life in general. Let's start off with Gillian Rhodes here, who wrote The Evolutionary Psychology of Facial Beauty. Now, as usual, I don't have time to go through the entire article, but I will be giving you a few quotes. So, here we go. Evolutionary as well as cultural pressures may contribute to our perceptions of facial attractiveness. Biologists predict that facial symmetry should be attractive, because it may signal mate quality. Interesting. Dennis Dutton had this to say: beauty is an adaptive effect which we extend and intensify in the creation and enjoyment of works of art and entertainment. Our aesthetic preferences arise from natural selection pressures that favor traits enhancing survival and reproduction. Next quote. Our aesthetic response to landscapes is an evolved instinct. We find beauty in open, grassy areas with scattered trees because these savanna-like environments signaled food, water, and safety to our ancestors. So far, we like pretty things because pretty things in nature has sustained humanity. We see grass, we see trees, we see rivers flowing and think, we can live here. We can survive here. So far, the beauty in nature is synonymous with survival, it appears. But I'm not done with the quotes. Here are some more. Our minds are built to see beauty as a guide to fitness. We are drawn to faces and bodies that signal health, fertility, and strength because our survival as a species depended on choosing mates with these traits. Here's my last quote. Our sense of beauty is not arbitrary. It's wired into our brains by evolution. We find certain forms and patterns beautiful because they resonate with neural circuits shaped by survival needs, like detecting symmetry or vibrant colors that signal ripeness or health. So with all those quotes in mind, I submit to my dear viewer that we don't like pretty things because we are bigots, but because these longings for beauty is instinctual. Now, I want you to listen to one more thing. Listen to Tucker Carlson for a moment, and I'll come back on the other side.
Show up in Moscow, you say this is the best place I've ever been in my life. This city is better than anywhere in America.
It is.
Get out of here.
A city of 13 million people, much larger than any city we have. No homelessness, no graffiti. It's spotlessly clean. The public spaces are beautiful. The architecture has not been degraded by oppression of postmodern architecture, which is designed to demoralize and hurt you and destroy your spirit. I believe that because it's true.
Do you believe that postmodern architecture is designed to kill your spirit?
Of course. Well, look, anything that we make with our hands, it's the purest expression of our creativity. So there's a purpose behind everything that we make. There's a message behind all of it, as there is in all art. You don't paint a painting with no vision behind it. You paint a painting because you're saying something. And so buildings that are warm and human and that elevate the human spirit are pro-human. And brutalism, for example, or the IMP glass boxes that crowd every city in the United States, those are not elevated. What's the message of working in a cube in a room with a synthetic drop ceiling and drywall on the walls and fluorescent lighting ahead of you and no privacy at all? What's the message? The message is really clear. You mean nothing. You are replaceable. You are a widget in a bin awaiting assembly. You're just a cog in a machine. You have no value. And everyone kind of ignores this, like, oh, well, that's the way buildings have always been. No, that's not true. And architecture and anything made by human hands is the purest expression of the society that produced it. So we were like, oh, they're handicrafts. No, they're not handicrafts. They're a visible and tangible sign of who you are, not just as a person, but corporately as a society. And if you live in a place that creates nothing beautiful and doesn't provide people uplifting buildings to live and work in, that's a very sick and dark society.
What I appreciated the most from what Tucker Carlson has just said in the video is the value, the vision behind what you create. Now, I understand this firsthand because I'm a musician. I've been playing guitar since 1997. I've been in a few bands and, so on and so forth. So I understand the process behind creating art. I understand that there is a purpose, a motivation to what you're creating. Now, here's another post. Elena Mia said this, I put my whole heart into this creation and hope it gets a little love here. Take a look at this magnificent piece of art. Now, what does that tell you about the artist's motivations? There's a lot of beauty to be held here. There's a lot for your eye to soak in. The picturesque church in the middle, the massive sprawling tree in the background, the deer. There is a lot of detail here. And what it conveys to you is old school Americana. It just uplifts you when you see it. This is something embedded into humanity's psyche. This is instinctual. We long to see pretty things. So, if I were to show you a picture of Tosh again, I would submit to you that characters like Tosh are the video game equivalent to brutalism. It is designed to take you down. It is designed to kind of make you disgusted with what you're seeing. Normal people wouldn't find monstrosities like Tosh hot. Only, and oddly enough, liberals and those who belong to the rainbow cult tend to like things like that. Now, that is an entirely different discussion that maybe one day I will have. But I don't think beauty, personally, I don't think beauty is purely subjective. I am now convinced through what I have read in the past, I am convinced that our desire to see beauty in games and elsewhere in art is directly linked to our instincts, and it is directly linked to what makes us human. We're not perverts. We just want to see pretty things because that is a part of our nature. That is a part of what makes us human. That's all the time I have for this video. If you liked what you heard and saw, do all the happy, fun, social stuff. Like and subscribe. Share this video with all your friends. You can find me on X. You can find me on Gab. And my backup channel is on Odyssey. Until next time, have fun.